So a big day for Renault at Auto Expo 2020, the announcement of the Triber automatic new engine range, and even an electric car, the electric Kwid coming, that's also been confirmed. And to talk to us about this is the head of Renault's Asia, Middle East and India and Asia Pacific, Mr. Fabrice Cambolive, and Africa. And
which is
Fabrice,
a very important market for us.
that's good, and I think a lot of cars get exported out of here to Africa as well.
I will give you a scoop because you like scoop. Our MD from India, in the coming days, will go to South Africa. First of all, to see how Kwid and Triber are going in this country. Second, to meet all the Indian people who are living there. And third, to take all the best learnings from our South African team to increase still the export from India to South Africa. You will discuss with him.
That's Fabrice Cambolive telling us about the export plans from India. That's great. That's a great information. Obviously, exports is important, which we'll come to. But just right now, talking about the Triber, obviously now with the AMT and a turbocharged version, how do you expect the Triber, let's say, the range and the market to grow with these additions?
First of all, we took some lessons from the past. I think in the past we've been very innovative, launching Duster, launching Kwid, but sometimes perhaps not enough concentrated on the life cycle management of the product. When we decided to launch Triber 2 years ago, I paid a lot of attention, not only to have the right positioning of the car, because at the end the car is something different from all the other cars, but also to secure a good life cycle management for the life cycle of the car. That's what we are doing now, beginning with automatic version, which is in India, of course, as you know, very important in urban situation. I think automatic version should bring 30% customers more on top on what we are doing now. It means Triber should be one of our best sellers in our lineup for the next 2 coming years.
And even a turbo version, you think that will also add another incremental volume? It kind of completes the package because, to be honest, in naturally aspirated form, the BR10, not really the strongest engine. So do you think this will address that issue?
Yes, alors, first of all, we decided in terms of powertrain. As you know, we decided not to go with diesel because of reduction of emission and to bet on very localized, very competitive gasoline engine.
And that gives you a packaging advantage also with no diesel having to be packaged.
Donc, this gives us a good competitiveness. And at this level, I can tell you that the first feedback from the Indian customers who are buying a Triber are good. Also good for the engine. It means they judge the engine is adjusted to the car. Of course, what we want to do in terms of life cycle animation is to give more power and to give more power to Triber, and that's why we will launch this turbo also in the coming months after the launch of AMT, which will complete our lineup in Triber. You're right.
And just talking about petrol engines, you've shown the HR13 also, which will be coming in your M0, your Duster cars and all. But the K9K diesel is going. That was really a strong diesel. Do you think that's going to put you at a bit of a disadvantage having just a petrol-only lineup in India where SUVs typically run on diesel?
Yes, but in India we are always we tried always to focus on the core mix of our lineup, and even now we are working with our diesel. Now, I would say Triber is just only in gasoline, and we can see that there is not at all a disadvantage. Of course, this was a hard decision to decide to abandon diesel, but we had to make some compromise between our capacity to localize, our capacity to make volumes, and the respect of the new emission norms. And that's why we decided to do that. But I take your advice, and we will follow the market, of course, to see if diesel is not something we should also use for the next generation.
Right. So what you're saying is the diesel story is not over, and if there's a market, you could come back with it.
I say that up to now, we made a decision regarding diesel, and we decided to stop it and to concentrate on gasoline. But of course, we don't have to be blind in the market, and we have to take the advice and the needs of the customers.
So, Mr. Cambolive, there's been a lot of product rationalization right now. The Logi has gone out of the market. Certain diesel cars have gone out of the market. You're focusing more on the CMF-A cars. Is that going to be the strategy going forward, that there will be a shift towards looking at the lower end of the market, which is served by the CMF-A platform? You've got the HBC compact SUV also coming, and maybe a compact sedan. So, just to get your sense on, the strategy going forward.
Alors, strategy here in India is that if you want to be competitive, if you want to localize, if you want to respect the new norms, you have to make volumes. It means you can't afford to go in the market with small volumes or small model volumes. That's why we decided to rationalize the lineup, and I don't regret at all this choice, because how many inhabitants in India now? 1.3, 1.4? Yeah. Okay. You don't tackle 1.4 billion people with too many models, because you don't have enough means to advertise, to make awareness, to make familiarity. That's why we decided to concentrate on a few models which are all doing more than 1% share of market. Okay, it's the case of Kwid, it's the case of Triber, it will be the case of the new model coming on the new platform from Triber, and then to put all the needs on those models with a big objective in terms of localization. That's our strategy, yes.
So that's interesting. So the strategy is try to go for maximum volume with a select models which you've launched in the market.
Yes, but not only selected, but differentiated models versus the market. Triber is unique. Kwid was kind of unique car, and I can bet you that the new car, you can call it a SUV or not, which will come on the CMF-A Plus platform, will also be very differentiated in terms of positioning versus our competitors.
And last question, Mr. Cambolive, is that going forward, obviously volumes is very important. You've got a huge plant which is really not to full capacity, along with Nissan as partners. Is that an issue? Because obviously not filling the capacity doesn't give you the scale. So in terms of cost competitiveness, that's also an issue. So is really building volume one of the core issues right now, given the kind of capacity you put here?
Yes, huge plant. In terms of capacity, first of all, we share this plant. This is a huge opportunity. We share that with our partner from the Alliance, first of all. Second point, things change very rapidly. Look at Triber. Triber is a new car which is bringing all of a sudden 60, 70, 80,000 cars on top in the plant. It means huge, I don't know, for the future. I think we have a very good tool we can manage, and we prove that this plant is very competitive, taking into account what they achieve for the ramp-up of Triber. I don't see that as a problem, frankly speaking, and I think that in the coming years we'll be able to use the full capacity of the plant.
And with EVs, you've announced you're going to be bringing in an EV, the Kwid EV, low-cost EV. Do you think India is...
Is an EV. If we bring EV on the market in India, is to sell EV. Right. We don't want to bring an EV built up and to say, yes, we are good, we are making EV.
So you will manufacture it here.
It means if we want to bring an EV, not only manufacturer, because this would be easy, but to localize. Right. And to localize, we have to be clear on the custom duties. Right. Not only import, but export, batteries, for instance. We have to be clear on the infrastructure, and we have to be on the heart of the market. That's why, for me, I think that Kwid or a Kwid EV could be a very good solution for the Indian market, and we are working hard on that.
But don't you think it's a bit early, because India as an EV market really hasn't kind of accelerated rapidly, but do you want to just seed the market and be ready when the time comes?
No, we are not just seeing the market. We are now working to localize the car. And of course, this localization will be accelerated if we are clear on the custom duties and if we are clear on the business model, which should be not only for India, but also for export.
Custom duties have just gone up, actually.
A lot of people, a lot of consumers, a lot of countries in my region could be interested by importing EV, Kwid EV from India, of course.
Well, good plans, and clearly I think a lot of excitement from Renault. They're riding high on the success of the Triber, which has really bucked the downturn in the market. Wish you all the best for your upcoming products as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.